Champions Mojo is part of the CG Sports Network.
Welcome to the award-winning Champions Mojo, hosted by two world record-holding athletes and health, life, and leadership coaches. Be inspired as you listen to Conversations with Champions. And now, your hosts, Kelly Pallas and Maria Parker.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Champions Mojo podcast. And as usual, I am co-hosting with Maria Parker. Hello, Maria.
Hi, Kelly. It's so great to be with you today.
Oh, it's great to be with you too. And with our guest, who we are going to give a big introduction here in a minute, but let's say hello to her quickly. Hey, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi guys. How's it going?
Good.
Great. Well, we are so excited for our show today. As you can see, if you're watching, if you're listening, it is the legendary Amanda Beard. And it may be hard to fathom calling someone a legend at the young age of 40, but when you start your Olympic career at 14, that is a lot of time to build your resume. Amanda qualified for 4 consecutive Olympics from 1996 to 2008, earning a total of 7 Olympic medals. She set a world record in the 200-meter breaststroke in 2004 at our U.S. Olympic trials, and then became the Olympic champion in that event in Athens just a few months later. Besides being an NCAA champion for the Arizona Wildcats and a 2-time Pan Pac champion, she was also the co-captain of the U.S. Women's Olympic swim team in Beijing in 2008. Of all the great swim champions we've had on the show, Amanda seems to have crossed into that rare space for most swimmers into the celebrity status. She's been a model, gracing the pages of some of the world's biggest magazines. She's been a TV sports correspondent and much more. Maria, can you share a little bit more with us about Amanda?
Sure. While Amanda's resume is elite, she succeeded, and yet she struggled. She battled bulimia, body dysmorphia, depression, and drug use throughout much of her swimming career, as described in her 2012 memoir, In the Water They Can't See You Cry. Her self-esteem was eroded by an uncompromising pursuit of perfection and always being in the spotlight. But since she retired from competition, she's been busy being a champion in real life. For the last several years, she's championing how important it is for children to learn to swim. This led her to create the Beard Swim Company, a swim school in Gig Harbor, Washington, which she founded in 2017. This champion is much more than a former athletic phenom. She's a wife and a mother of 2 and an advocate for various causes. And we can't wait to talk with her and get some of her mojo for success. Amanda, again, welcome to the show.
Thanks, you
Welcome.
guys. I don't know what else to say after that nice, wonderful introduction. I appreciate it.
We're so delighted
yeah.
to talk to you.
We are delighted to talk to you. And there are a few iconic guests that we love to start the very first question with this. And if you're one of our regular listeners, you'll know some of the other guests that we've asked this. So, Amanda, let's rewind 20 years ago or more now. It's 25 years since you won your Olympic medal. And the amazing things that we've just introduced you as. What advice would you give, now that you know everything you've been through, to your 14-year-old self?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. I think to be more present, to just kind of forget about the next day and focus on the day that I was given and enjoy everything instead of, when I was younger, I stressed a lot about trying to get better, just trying to achieve perfection and get a little bit better every single day. So I think just be a little easier and kinder to myself and be present and be more in the moment.
Where did you learn to pursue or to think that you could achieve perfection and get a little bit, like you said, get a little bit better every day? That sounds almost like somebody's telling you, you can get a little bit better every day if you work at it. That's really not how life is.
Nope. I don't know. The thing is, I think it was just a lot of myself. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I was always a perfectionist. My parents are very, if you meet them, they're very chill parents, just kind of, they're not intense. They're not super strict. So it wasn't like my home life was influencing this, like, you must be perfect, you must do this, this, and this. There was not a lot of that in my household. So I think, I have OCD where I have to have everything very structured and in their place. And so I think it just kind of overlapped into my swimming and other things that I was doing in my life.
Wow.
You I can't help but think you started with this amazing coach, David Salo, who is Maria.
Oh, I didn't know.
interestingly-
Yeah, I know. I know who Dave Salo is.
David Salo happens to be a really good friend of a family friend of Maria and I's, Lou Sharp.
Yeah, he loved
the
Dave
late
Salo.
the late Lou Sharp, rest in peace. He was just incredibly important man in both Maria and my lives. But and Dave Salo and Lou Sharp had a lot in common. So can you just give some, because we have a lot of swimming listeners, but also those who won't, just some of the wisdom that you learned from Dave Salo, because
Oh
he
my
is
gosh.
just, I mean, for me, it's no coincidence that you swam for David Salo and you are such an amazing swimmer.
Well, I mean, he was my, one of my first coaches, my club coach, when I started to get really serious about my training and my swimming. Oh gosh, the amount of things that he, kind of helped shape me as an athlete and a person, and would be hours and hours and days to try to describe all of that. But I think the biggest thing with him was like, just to oh my gosh, there's so many, but I mean, he was I had such a great connection with him and respect for him even at a young age, that I always wanted to make sure that I was working really hard for him, and that I always felt that he had confidence with me and my abilities. And so I felt like if he was setting these goals and these expectations for me, that they were achievable goals. Like, they weren't like, oh yeah, go to the Olympics, do this and that. There were things that he truly believed that I could accomplish in my life. And he kind of instilled this level of, when you're at practice, you're there, you're 100% there. You're not thinking about homework at school or relationships or any of that kind of stuff. You're being there in the moment and you are giving 100%. So and that's in everything that we did. So whether it was stretching or dry land, or when we were doing visualization or just breathing exercises or anything in the water, it was done like to perfection. So going back with the perfection thing, but to perfection, because he just knew you were capable of it. And so if you took the time to actually focus and dedicate that time in that moment to that, then you would be able to achieve it. And he just, he really helped me develop my stroke. And the craziest thing about all of this is when I told my parents that I wanted to swim more and just not swim in the summertime, we just went to the pool closest to us. And that was the Irvine Nova pool, literally a mile down the street from where I grew up, where Dave Salo was the head coach there. So it was just, it worked so perfectly into my world. My parents didn't know much about swimming. They just kind of were like, okay, well, here's a program, go swim there. And little did we know that it was with a coach that would become and be one of the most respected, amazing coaches ever.
Did you take the be completely here and do this where you are 100%? Do you still apply that in your life?
Absolutely. I mean, it was everything that he taught me at a young age, I took into college with my coaches there and to the rest of my life, especially my training. And then applied that when I was done with training and decided to, start my own business and things like that. So it was, life skills that applied to everything that I did in my life, whether it was in the water or out of the water.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So one of a question we love to know, maybe other than David Salo, who do you think has had the biggest influence in your life?
Oh gosh. Well, coaching wise, I trained with Frank Bush at the University of Arizona. He was my coach for, oh my goodness, about 11 years. So he was a huge role in my life and just my training. Same thing with Dave, like just kind of instilling these just these great, not just teaching me, I guess, and helping me mold as a person, and helping me kind of navigate through life better. I mean, he led our team to great success in college. I trained with him as a professional swimmer, and made the 2000 and 2004 Olympic teams with him. And then he left the University of Arizona to go become the national team director for the United States swim team. And now he's retired, but we still keep in touch. So that's what's cool, is I still keep in touch with these coaches that made huge connections in my life, with Dave Salo and Frank Bush and Cindy Gallagher. They're all huge parts of my life. And I wouldn't be the athlete that I was without all of their wisdom thrown at me.
So after you retired from swimming, what are some of the things that you've done? I mean, you've done a lot of different things. What are some of the things that you've done that I think one of the big questions about being such an early and at 14, you were a huge success, and you don't even know who you are at 14.
No.
And, and you grew up, as you said in your book, you grew up in that spotlight, and that was, caused you some of the confusion, I guess, that you went through. But I guess my question is, from that and from, your early swimming, what have you done since swimming that's really filled your chest, that's made you feel, good and powerful and whatever,
well, being a mom.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's huge. My kids are my life and my world, and watching them grow and helping them navigate life has been huge. And then honestly too, starting our own business, myself and my husband, and it's one of those, like, I knew how to swim. I knew how to jump in a pool and train really hard and dedicate my life to that and becoming a really great swimmer. But, when you remove yourself from that comfort zone and kind of throw yourself into a different world, you never know. You don't know the challenges that you're going to meet. You're dealing with I sit on a computer a lot of the day and working. So it's different, but I have loved, and I've been really excited about for me, just kind of accomplishing something else outside of the pool, still related to swimming. So that makes it even cooler. But the challenge of, building out a facility to put pools in and teach kiddos how to swim in our communities has been pretty cool too.
And from what I read, you're hugely successful. I mean, it's not just a little success, but like you got waiting lists, right? To get into your school.
Yeah, that I always just say I need more pools, because our pools are not lap swimming pools. They're not 25-yard pools. They're developed for learning to swim, so they're a little less intimidating for all those little ones. I just don't have enough water. So yeah, we have quite an extensive waiting list. So hopefully over the next 5 to 10 years, we can get more Beard Swim Co. swim schools open all over the place, so that in every community there's a swim school available for kids to learn how to swim.
So did you come up with that special, I saw the interview with you about what makes your swimming school or pool that you design, you came up with that design on your own. Oh, it's got to have these warm water, not be too big, and have these gentle steps. How did you know that would be such a great place to, I'm dying to get my grandkids in your school.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess for me, so my kids swam, they learned how to swim. We were still living in Tucson, Arizona, and I was training there. And my girlfriend owned a swim school there. And so my kids were learning how to swim there, and just kind of watching them progress and learn, and just the joy of a parent seeing your kids learn how to swim is amazing. So I wanted to be able to do that too. I wanted to be able to have a facility like that. So to be honest, my girlfriend in Tucson helped mentor me a lot with some of the things that I needed to make sure that our facility had and catered to create the best environment for kids learning how to swim. So I can't take all the credit. I wish I could, but I definitely can't.
Well, you certainly
So,
rolled out.
in your book, you do discuss a lot of your struggles, but for our listeners, can you just go over like when kind of your struggles started, what some of them were, and how you got healthy?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it started to show in high school. I think high school is just a hard time for everyone. I think that I added additional stuff onto my plate as a high schooler. Training full time. I swam between 9 and 10 practices a week. So I was, up early in the morning, swimming before school, going to school, and swimming till late at night. Every single day, basically. Then high school pressures. And I went to my first Olympics between my freshman and sophomore year of high school. And when I came back as a 14-year-old coming back to high school as a sophomore, the last thing that you want to do is really kind of stand out, I guess. Or me, I wanted to just blend in. I wanted to kind of forget about the Olympics, not forget it, but go to school and not have everybody asking me or pointing at me and saying, "Oh, she's the swimmer girl." I just wanted to like go back, carrying my books, going to school, getting my average grades, and go kind of back to normal. And it didn't completely go that way. And I think, it was me just kind of denying that it was going to just go back to normal right away. But, the city had a parade for me. I got picked up for my first day of school in a Bentley with the whole school in front, with my principal doing a speech to everybody. And I had camera crews following me on campus and photographers around my high school. So it was not your typical. And I built up a lot of anxiety with that because I was very uncomfortable with that kind of attention, especially at that age. I got better at developing skills of how to handle that. But at that age, I would break down in tears constantly. So my parents started to put a lot of restrictions on how often the media was allowed to talk to me and do interviews and do photo shoots and things like that, because it just became very overwhelming for me to dedicate time to that at that age, where I just wanted to hang out. I wanted to keep swimming and hang out with my friends and go to football games and just do the normal things.
Wow. So then, that was overwhelming. And then what happened?
Yeah. Well, so that caused a lot of anxiety in me and kind of stuff like that. And then at that time, there's not a lot, there wasn't really the internet, or it wasn't like a big thing then. So it was a lot of just newspaper articles. I went through puberty after the 96 Olympics. So my body changed completely. I went from, 95 pounds to 120 pounds, 5'2" to 5'8". It changed my whole shape, which then affects how you swim as an athlete. And so I started to swim pretty junky, so I internalized that a lot as an athlete, and just kind of really beating myself up over my performance and how I wasn't living up to the expectations that I felt that people around me had for me. So I, trying to be that person that was very trying to control every aspect of my life. I felt like, okay, well, I've gained weight, so I must lose weight. So I need to control everything that I'm putting in my body and how my body is and the shape of it. I mean, at that age too, I didn't realize this is just life. This happens. You just kind of have to like go through it and navigate it. But I was trying to control it more. And I had a lot of, newspaper articles talking about just how I wasn't swimming at the level that I was before the Olympics and during the Olympics, and how, maybe I'm done and washed up, and, how that's last of me kind of stuff. So as a 14, 15, 16-year-old, those kinds of words really, I read them as truth and not as like, as just articles that I can kind of dismiss, which I learned how to do a lot later in life. So that led to a lot of just my, not only anxiety, but my body image issues, my eating disorder issues, and just how I treated myself as a person. I was really hard on myself and pretty negative. And not a lot of that honestly changed until probably, well out of college.
How did you get better?
Good people around me. I mean, I always had good people around me, but I didn't communicate with them about the things that I was going through. I was very, very private about all of that kind of stuff. I never talked about my negatives or my things that I was going through. I didn't want anyone to think that I was weak or couldn't handle things. So I never opened up. I didn't open up until I met my husband. And that was when I was, 23, 24 years old. And I mean, that was after my third Olympics. So pretty like far along my athletic career. He encouraged me to get help and to talk to people and to figure out how to not be so hard on myself and stop that negative loop and understand, the causes of the things that I was feeling and going through, and how to start living a life that I wanted to live, that I felt like that I deserved, like everybody deserves to live, and stop being so darn awful on myself. So my husband was a huge positive, role, and really someone that kind of pushed me in the right direction is what I needed. And then encouraged me to talk to everyone. And it was the best thing that I could have done. So, and stop being so ashamed of who I was.
So you're, you remind me, your career reminds me a little bit of Mel Stewart's, and you guys were cutting edge pre-pro swimmers. So now, now swimmers can be pro. Everybody has an agent. But you were out there navigating these waters, dangling, by yourself. And certainly, the fact that you weren't just a great swimmer, but you had these model looks, just flat out, so it wasn't just, it was, I know you find that it's just so funny that you don't think you're gorgeous.
It is so
it's
amazing
a modesty
to me.
thing, but you have two careers as such. So there's your swimming talent. And then truly, if you had been recruited by the Ford modeling agency or you could have been a model, so you had those skill sets, whether, we're not going to make a commentary or, a statement on whether looks are important or how they play into the world, because I know Maria and I, as aging women, try not to get hung up on looks, but as a fact, you were able to be a model that could make a living modeling bathing suits, doing runway. You had those skills with your swimming skills, a little bit like Mel. Mel was this gorgeous guy, did Baywatch, did his stuff. So when you were doing these risque swimsuit poses and posing in Playboy magazine, and did you have an agent? Did you have someone guiding you like these agents do today? Or what was your experience like going out there in the world as this kind of dual, you were in territory that a lot of celebrity athletes were not in at that time?
Yeah. I mean, I had a nice amount of staff and management around me, helping me kind of organize everything and, approaching everything as a business. The way that it's funny. I know you guys, when you guys say model, I giggle because, I never really felt that way. I more so felt, that I was booking all of these things because I was an athlete. And if I wasn't an athlete, there's no way that I would be doing this chapter of my career and that stuff. But I did have, I had an agent, and then I had a couple of additional staff members who helped with making sure that I had hair and makeup. I had a PR team, all of that kind of stuff, people doing wardrobe stuff for me. So I had a fair amount of people helping me navigate through those waters, because I would have completely been lost. Because it's just not my normal world. My normal world smells of chlorine, right? So messy wet bun, goggle marks, and chlorine. So, and if it's funny because my husband did a lot of media stuff with me and went to a lot of red carpet events with me. And we're both kind of, we're not big, you won't see us in clubs very often, you know, we're not those kinds of people. So, but I knew that I had to do red carpet events because they were great media hits. And that would be, you know, great for my business, my role of, you know, being an athlete and everything that I was just doing at that time. So we would literally do hair, makeup, dress up, do all that kind of stuff, go to all the red carpet events, walk the red carpet, do as much media as we can. We literally enter the place. You're like, oh, this is cool, wonderful, awesome. And we'd literally jump in the car, go home, put our pajamas on and watch like a movie and just be super lazy. And to be honest, I wasn't built for that world. I have to wake up at 4:30 the next morning to go to practice, and I need to be rested and prepared and ready to jump in that pool and train, because none of my coaches that I had would ever let me get away with the excuse of, well, I was out late at a club because it was an opening. There's no way. They don't let you get away with that kind of stuff. So I had a lot of people helping me figure out that road for sure.
How did you figure out how to be Amanda Beard Inc.?
I have no idea. Try out lots of falling on my face, like I think you do with everything, right? Just kind of like throwing the spaghetti at the wall, trying to see what sticks, see where I fit in with stuff, what makes sense, and you know, making a lot of mistakes along the way, like we all do through life, and trying to discover who we are and who we are as a person, and then also in business. So.
Yeah, I think the point Kelly's making is that you are out way ahead of others doing that. And so given your personality where it's like, please just let me sleep and be by myself with my family. I mean, I think it's kind of miraculous that you were able to create, you know, this very glamorous, beautiful, and also beyond that, I mean, I think you made us want to be swimmers. You made us want to be athletic. You made us, it wasn't just about you getting out there glammed up. You were also an athlete, and you were also producing in the athletic world. So, I mean, I love what you did. It's just, to me, it's amazing that you were able to do it and be such a, you know, a forerunner to, you know, everybody's trying to do that now, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't make a lot of sense with my personality, especially for people who know me. But I think the way that I viewed all that stuff was like, this is so short term. So I want to seize these opportunities. I want to go after it. There wasn't a lot of things that I refused to do as far as interviews or, like I said, going to red carpet events and stuff like that, because I felt like there's going to be a chapter and a moment in my life. I'm not going to be getting these calls or these emails. I'm not going to be asked to do these things. So I'm not going to have the regrets of I didn't go for it and have fun with it and like just say yes to almost everything that I could possibly do. Because I felt, you know, especially looking at swimming. So swimming is like, we exist during the Olympics and then we're gone. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where it's like, if I could try to figure out how to exist within those 4 years, even just the slightest, I'm going to do it, because this is going to be, this doesn't happen very often. So I just really wanted to take advantage of that, because I didn't know when it was going to go away.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on your Playboy appearance? Why you did that, and what the thought process was going in, and how you feel about that now?
I think it goes along with the same thing I was just saying, is just taking advantage of that opportunity. Also, oh my goodness, I don't even know how old I was, but I was early 20s, 23, 24, probably 24, somewhere in there. And I'm not going to have that body of that 24-year-old for very long. And especially after having kids and stuff like that. So, and I work really hard to be in shape, and why not show what a strong athletic body looks like, you know, like there's nothing prefab on my body or manufactured or anything. So it's just all, you know, long hours in the pool, working really hard. And it was one of those moments where I felt like, okay, if I pass this up, and is this going to be something that I regret in my future, not taking advantage of and doing? Because it's like, I'm being offered to be on the not like on the cover of Playboy, and I had full control of who the photographer was, the whole everything that we, I had full control over everything, which I thought was, for a huge company and a magazine like that I felt like was pretty darn awesome. So I have zero regrets of doing it. I think it was stressful because you're really exposing yourself on a very vulnerable and different level. But I had full support of my family, my husband, the people in my tight community. So I felt, ready to kind of tackle that next chapter and have fun with it.
This theme just keeps coming back as we're talking with you. You're so clearly private and modest and, hardworking, and yet time and time again, you have made, I would say, the difficult choice of being really authentic. Like, you're showing your body, telling your story. And is that part of your healing from, keeping it all inside? Was that part of the journey?
And I think it's also makes you feel empowered, right?
Yeah.
Like confident and like in control of things and making decisions. And I also, while I am very private and I am, kind of keep to myself a lot with a lot of things, I also like to be challenged. I like to see something ahead of me and think, well, I would never do that, or that, and think of that as more as a challenge instead of like just a complete roadblock for me, and see kind of if I can push myself outside of my comfort zone once in a while and do things that I never thought that I'd be able to do. And it gives you a level of like, okay, I'm a confident person. I can do this. So to me, it was more stepping up to the challenges of things
that terrified you.
Yeah, completely.
I just want to go back, sorry, just for a second, because I think if there's parents or 15-year-old or 17-year-old girls listening to this, I want them to hear from you. You did a lot of things. You did self-mutilation. I guess there was bulimia. I'm not sure, all of the extent of it. What would you say to some swimmer or gymnast or somebody else, in a sport who's constantly, their body, you nailed it about the body changing. I saw that in cross country. It's like your body changes in these sports and everything changes. So what would you say to those girls or the parents of those girls out there who may be struggling with those same just demons that you struggled with?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think what happens is we go through those things and we start to think like, I'm the only one going through this. I'm the only one struggling. No one could possibly understand the things that I'm feeling, the emotional struggles, the way that I'm viewing myself, especially if you look at, like a young lady and you think, oh, she's got everything going for her, beautiful, great grades, she's accomplished in all these things. And then if she reaches out about things that, she's feeling and experiencing emotionally and mentally, some people will just dismiss that, right? No, you can't feel that way. Look at all these wonderful things that you have going on. But her feelings, those feelings inside of you are so important and need to be heard, and to find the right people who want to be those listeners around you who will help guide you in the right direction of getting the help and getting you on the track, so that all of those great accomplishments that we are seeing you're believing, right? So you're believing those things about yourself, and you're living a fun life, like when you're feeling so awful about yourself, life is not fun. It's hard. It sucks. You put a smile on your face and you go about your life, but inside you're just, it's dark and you're crying your eyes out. And that's not how we should be feeling. And as humans, we're always going to have those moments and ups and downs in our lives because it's life, and we experience different tragedies and different things that we have to overcome. But as a whole, we should be, have that support system around us who helps, encourage us and guide us and reminds us, of how wonderful we are. And it's not, checking off all those little, boxes on your list of, well, you have to, have your hair look like this or your skin look like this. Who cares about that stuff, So being okay with speaking up about it is really, really important for all those not just young females, a lot of young men, and everyone experiences this at any age, being okay with speaking up and exposing, your true self to the people who you really trust around you. For me, when I did that, I felt like I connected with so many people on such a deeper level, and then heard their stories. And it made me feel like, oh, I'm not this black sheep walking around. Look at this really accomplished, coach or athlete or movie star, and they're experiencing the same things that I am. Like, wow, okay, I can do this. I can handle this. So speaking up is huge.
Thank you.
Yes. Amanda, so obviously, just in the short time that we've been speaking, you are authentic, you are confident, you have this ability to want to improve yourself every day. So these
Challenge.
are three, you love the challenge. These are three tremendous attributes that you have as a champion. What other traits do you see that champions possess?
Champions possess. Wow. I think just, oh gosh. Well, I can tell you, when I meet really successful, especially athletes, I love it when I meet them and I have a conversation with them and they're looking at me, right? And they're actually having a conversation with you. So I've had a lot of encounters with people where they're talking to you, but they're kind of just talking at you and wandering. So I really enjoy those people who are respectful to the people that enter their lives and they engage with, right? On all levels, not just, from Olympic athlete to Olympic athlete, just anybody that you're coming into contact with your life. So I think, the athletes that I have met along the way who have, taken the time to like talk to me and then remember those conversations and have those engagements. I think that's a huge thing of being a champion, is being really engaged in the people around you.
Wow.
Gosh, that's a great answer. And that's just a champion in life. I mean, that's like a successful business person. That's a successful parent. I mean, think about how much you love it when a parent looked at you and listened and really, I mean, Maria and I shared my mother and her mother-in-law. Was there anyone better than Norma Parker, Maria, that could grab you by both hands, look deep into your eyes and say, "What's going on, honey?" I mean, that is like what you're describing. And it's such a great quality. I don't think we've had anyone
say that
out of 130 shows say that.
And it's true and so beautiful and speaks so much to your maturity.
It brings
wisdom.
Tears to my eyes.
It does.
My late mother.
Yeah, she was excellent at that.
Yeah.
I mean, those encounters with those people that I've had have made long lasting impressions on me, and just everything that I've done. And those people have no idea that they've made that kind of an impression on me, but it's huge. It's so huge.
Do you do that, Amanda? When you meet someone, do you try to do that?
I absolutely try, but I'm sure that I don't do it all the time. I try really hard, especially with my husband and my kids, because, you get very lazy, I guess, with your relationship with your spouse sometimes. And, my husband will be trying to have a conversation with me and I'll just be like, just like, where it's like, when he's talking to me or when anybody's talking to me, those words they mean something, right? They're coming from him. So I want to be present and to be listening to him. And I tuck my kids in every night, and that's one big thing. My son is very, he's a lot like me. He's very private. He doesn't talk about his emotions very much. So I make a point every night when I'm tucking my son in is to have these, like, it's this weird moment where he just lets everything out. So we have these long conversations just about everything. And even like with my daughter, she'll ramble off about all of these wild little stories that happen at school and this or that, but they're so important to her and her life and what's going on with her that I'm going to listen and I'm going to care about what you're telling me, because when you become a teenager, I still want this. I want these interactions. And so if I dismiss them now, there's no chance that when you're 16 that you're going to be coming and telling me about what's going on at school anymore.
That is so smart. And
great
speaking of,
parenting advice and great marriage advice.
My mother was one of the greatest parents, and she every year through high school, I would come and sit on her bed. If I came in at 1 a.m, I would come and sit on her bed and tell her everything. I did this, I did that, I drank a beer, I did, because she was always there. So I think that is great parenting advice.
That's cool. Well, hopefully I'll be like your mom. So yeah. Sounds like she was a pretty special lady.
She was a very, very special lady. And, well, awesome. So, this is Amanda. I mean, I think we've gotten so much out of you, and we want to be respectful of your time. It's like so much mojo, like the mojo is there. We always ask the last question. We also have a fun sprinter round. So we still have a little bit to cover before we let you go. But, so is there anything that we have not asked you that you just would like to share with our listeners?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. You guys covered a lot of amazing topics. I would say, get your kids in swim lessons, find a swim program in your community, in your area. It's such an important life skill. Doesn't matter if they want to be swimmers, but the aquatic doors that will open will be huge. And just, the drowning, oh gosh, I mean, it's preventable. So get your kids exposed at a young age. It's very important. So I think that'd be my last thing that I make sure everyone knows that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay. So this is the fun part. We just lets our listeners get to know you a little bit better. And these are like 1-word answers. I give you a few either ors, and then Maria's got a few for you. So are you ready to play?
Ready.
All right. Cat or dog?
Dog.
Okay, this is not political. It's just red or blue.
Oh God, blue. All cool colors. I don't like warm colors. They stress me out.
Oh, I love it. All right. Milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
Dark chocolate.
Kickboard or no kickboard?
Kickboard.
Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Football or baseball?
Baseball.
Okay, you got one hour. Cardio or weights?
Cardio.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
All right, Maria's got a few here.
These are short, super short answers.
Those are, I like that. That's fun. Okay.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite pizza topping?
Oh gosh. Garlic.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's my husband's favorite topping.
Favorite vegetable?
Broccoli.
Favorite place to swim?
Monte Carlo.
That sounds nice. How do you relax?
Swimming. So boring, right? Oh no. I swim in my 90-degree pool, so it's more of like a float swim. So that's pretty relaxing.
What's your shoe size?
9.
Okay, what's a favorite movie or book you've watched or read lately?
Oh, favorite movie.
One that you might like that you've
well, we're watching a lot of we watch a lot of documentaries. So we just watched one on The Last Dance, the docuseries with Michael Jordan was a huge in our household. So I would say that and I love all baseball movies. So maybe The Natural or Field of Dreams would be huge for us.
Nice.
For me.
What's your favorite music genre?
Like classical or something like Johnny Cash or Paul Simon.
Oh, nice. Okay, so last one. What word comes to mind first when you dive into the water?
Butter.
Butter.
I know that's really weird, but I always talk about like when you dive into a pool, like it's almost like a hot knife cutting through butter, right? Like, so, or that's how it's supposed to feel. Like, it's just that feeling of just like sliding through the water. Was really weird. I'm sure.
No, I get it. I get it.
I get it too.
I get it. I get it. And Mark and I always say when something is going really well, we go, oh, it's like butter.
There you go. Yeah. So butter or butter.
Butter. I love it. Oh, this has been wonderful, Amanda. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, it's
really
been great.
Fun.
You're just as,
yeah,
you're
thank
just
you
as
guys.
great, an incredible person as I mean, I also had fangirl, because I've been watching you. So it was really exciting to talk to you, but you're just an incredibly wise person. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks. I loved all the questions you guys asked. That was really fun. So I appreciate everything. So it was a really great, fun day.
Okay, good. All right.
Thank you.
Take care, Amanda.
Thanks, you guys.
It's now time for the takeaways. Maria, you and I have heard the takeaways are the best part of the show.
That's right, Kelly, because the takeaways are curated information, which is what we give to our clients when we coach them.
If you would like to take your performance to the next level in health, life, or leadership, go to our website and schedule your free 30-minute consultation.
Yes, just click on our coaching page and book there. We're looking forward to bringing out the champion in you.
And now, the takeaways. Well, Maria, here are the takeaways for the iconic, the legendary Amanda Beard. I mean,
She was so great.
Just so great. Like really, we get a lot of champions of varying ages, but when we can get someone who's 40, kind of in the prime of her life, where she had this career of starting 25 years, she's already been out there in the spotlight, just doing a lot of things that champions do, 4 Olympic teams, just amazing. So lot of really great mojo, as we said. It was going to be hard to pick out just 2 each.
Yeah.
What was your first one? Because I think that this one that you hit in the show for me was kind of the summary of Amanda.
Yeah. When you talk to her and you listen to her, you become aware that, yeah, I mean, she likes to, keep to herself, and she's got anxiety, and she's, kind of a perfectionist. And I don't think of people like that just throwing themselves out there, doing things that they're terrified of again and again and again. But that's what Amanda Beard did. I mean, she wasn't she's not outgoing. I mean, she's not the kind of person to go to red carpets or whatever, but she did it. She said she would do things that terrified her. And that's what bravery is. I try to, somebody who's outgoing and, they're standing up and, giving a big speech, that's nothing. But if you're terrified and you stand up anyway in front of those people and you give a speech, that's bravery, and that builds confidence. And that's what she said. That's what confidence looks like. Confidence looks like doing the things that terrify you again and again and again. And that makes you believe in yourself and know who you are. And Kelly, you're really good at that. I mean, I think you do things, we often talk about the things that you don't want to do for whatever reason because of your anxiety, and you do them anyway. I'm always thinking, she's not going to do that. She's not going to, and then you do it.
and I guess I really think this comes down to confidence. It's a good commentary on what confidence looks like, what kind of bravery looks like. And with Amanda, it wasn't just the red carpet events, because we know, Maria, you and I as athletes, and we have a lot of athletes that listen to the show, that when you put yourself out there on the athletic line, you're putting yourself out there.
That's
where
right.
People expect Maria Parker to show up and break records.
Right.
And if you show up and you don't, you're like putting yourself out there. So Amanda's body changed.
Right.
She turned into a woman. The media started saying she was
harsh.
a has-been. She could have just gotten out of swimming.
Mm-hmm.
She'd already won an Olympic medal.
Right.
She could have left swimming. But she went out there. So it was all kinds of things. So I love that. Yes. Confidence is the takeaway. Is confidence
comes from doing things
things
terrified.
that you're terrified of. It's kind of a combination of bravery.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I thought was really, like, the one you just did, and this one that I am going to cover, I think if, of the whole show, these two things really stuck out for me was when we asked her what trait she found most memorable and most important in a champion or a winner in life. It was connecting with people. It was really like when she remembered people or champions or anyone that really, when they meet her and they look in her eyes and they make her feel that she's connected to them and that they're with her in that moment. And this is, in our digital distraction society, this is huge. And we said in 130 plus shows that we've had, no one has ever said this is a champion's trait. So this is kind of a like, wee, ding, ding, ding. We got a new one, which is connect with people and really take that time. And this can be with your spouse, with your child, with the sale you're trying to make it work, with making a new friend, with anything that we're all just like looking at our phones or thinking about our grocery list or what's next. So I love that.
I loved it too. I loved how she applied it to her marriage, because I think she said you can get lazy with the people closest to you. And I thought that what great advice to, she said, my husband can be talking and I can think, I know what you're going to say or whatever, blah, 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 blah. But she said she really tries to discipline herself to connect and listen to him every time he talks, and her children too. It was very inspiring to both of us. We were like, oh yeah, that's so true. So, okay. Well, my second takeaway from this is I have this heart for people who maybe put together like Amanda, who, they're having bad thoughts or something bad's happening. Amanda struggled with body dysmorphia, and she did some self-mutilation, and she, and I know there's other people out there who maybe they've had, bad sexual encounters or inappropriate, anyway, whatever it is. And I think maybe swimming sort of attracts this kind of just put your head down and smile and swim and work hard. And, whatever it is that's inside you, that's black and dark, talk about it. And she didn't get better until she started talking about it. And when she talked about it in a big way. She wrote a book. So, she wrote, and I hope that any young man or woman or parent will hear this, or even adult, however you are, if there's something deep and dark inside you, find someone you can trust to tell, start talking about it. Because as Mr. Rogers says, if you can't talk about it, you can't deal with it. And it becomes bigger and more monster-like inside of you. Let it out. Let somebody else, as she said, when she started talking about things, it normalized. Everybody's like, oh yeah, me too. I've had that too. So I hope that anybody who's in this dark space, or if you know somebody, who seems like they're doing okay, but you're not sure you're getting all the story, ask them about it. Keep asking. That's sort of one of my gifts. Is like, I will not let a bone go. I mean, I will keep, if I think somebody's, something's bad, I will keep asking. And I think, find somebody you trust if you've got something, and talk to them about it. End of lecture.
Love it. Yeah, no, speak up. Yeah. It's like, mental health issues have, quadrupled because of the pandemic. So we know, this is an important way to deal with overcoming a lot of things, is tell somebody, talk with somebody. Yeah. So my second thing was, not something new, but, repetition is the mother of learning. And it's like being in the now. That was the advice that Amanda would give her 14-year-old self. She's looking back 25 years on an amazing life. What advice would you give that 14-year-old? She said to just be present, not worry about what's happening tomorrow, but just be here. Yeah. So I love that. That was kind of a simple one, but, very, very, very powerful.
I cannot hear that enough, because and I think a lot of ambitious people, we tend to live in the future, and depressed people tend to live in the past. I mean, it's, you can't hear that enough. We only have this moment. Just be here, be now, be with the people you love. Try to enjoy this very moment. I could probably, have that written all over every wall in my house. It's a lesson we need to remind ourselves every day.
Yes. Well, Maria, I am in the moment with you right now, and this has been fantastic. I love you.
I love you so much, Kelly. We'll talk to you later.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Champions Mojo podcast with host Kelly Palace and Maria Parker. Champions Mojo is produced by Cabra Media, and a new episode debuts every Tuesday. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. Follow Champions Mojo on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook @Champions Mojo.